Hi, my name is Annie Woodford, and I'm a poet living in Deep Gap, and I teach at Wilkes Community College. And I've lived in this community since 2018, and I just feel so lucky to live here in the mountains and with people who love language and music and the landscape so much. And I'm so thankful to the Wilkes County Library for, celebrating Poetry Month and inviting me to read some of my work. One of the things that I have missed so much during COVID is being in the physical space of the libraries, like the beautiful library in Wilkes County, as well as the ones we have up here in near Boone at the college and the public library. So the first poem I want to read is from my book Bootleg. And it's about the public library in Roanoke City where I used to live, which one of the things I always loved about the library is how everybody could go there. You didn't have to spend money to be there. And there was all these resources for people. And, my theory is that librarians are the true superheroes in the world because if you ask them for help with something, they can usually figure out, an answer or how to, get that answer. So anyway, the title of this comes from Robert Johnson's song, Won't You Come Into My Kitchen? It's bound to be raining outside. So it's called Won't You Come In, Downtown Branch. In the stacks upstairs, I find poetry by the back wall, where 8 or 9 or 10 homeless men sit, half asleep or reading at the long table designed for laptops. The windows overlook the darkening city, fogged by rain and breath, such winter evenings just beginning to lengthen. Here among the papers hum, glue and ink disintegrate under fluorescent light. I look over the mostly slender spines, my eye caught by Guest and Hafez, Rilke, Angelou, T.S. Eliot's letters. I could smell their bodies, the unwashed salt in clothes and beards. A sympathy of sweat rose around me and these books, the greasy sweetness of the skull. I shall kiss the scalp through your thin hair, O Heavenly Father. I scanned the scant selection. Rumi after Rumi danced before me, pocket editions from the everyman's library, small and golden on the shelves, shining in their plastic wrappers. I read, floating verse is a lyric that winds through time and space, found in different songs, each generation or place, fitting many tunes. A bird flies, a girl dies, and as these men know, it's bound to be raining outside. It's starting to rain here in Deep Gap. I probably ought to pick up the pace. This next poem was published this summer in Southern Humanities Review, which is a literary journal from Auburn University. And it was one of the finalists for their Auburn Witness Prize, which is something that has meant a lot to me over the years. It's a work by, to witness some truth about life in the South. And actually wrote this poem walking from Perry Brothers Garage to the community college and, noticing the beauty around me and just kind of thinking about, this place. So I was fortunate car trouble to have there. So it's called Wilkes County Posada. Come equinox, come solstice, the Tyson chicken plant will turn golden. The turning, lifting, safety signs, hiring bonus signs, the refrigerated trailers waiting to be pulled away. The puddles of nameless muck, the narrow smokestack spilling white steam. The pear trees planted along the street will turn crimson, turn purple. Oh, little town, your fathers come home smelling of blood and chicken funk. Oh, county of many poultry houses and children who believe in the FFA. White feathers fly out of cages stacked on trailers, the birds inside them unable to stand. Somewhere tonight, a mother is pulling on steel-toed boots and taping up the cuts of her hands. She's planning Christmas with every naked bird she disassembles, with every wing cut free from the body. with every body wrapped in plastic. Somewhere outside of town tonight, perhaps where the old racetrack buckles as frost falls and thaws, where fields of winter wheat flow, the Christ child is being reassembled, continually reassembled, toe by shining tiny toe, mortal rib by mortal rib. His hair is thick and black. His eyes are deep brown. He wears a onesie from Walmart. His mama works the night shift or is in a fentanyl doze, or he doesn't even have a mama, but a grandma whose hands, crimped up from some sort of repetitive labor, trace a bumblebee's flight toward his laughing belly. And the cold gathers around us like the three wise men, and the chickens are kneeling in the slaughterhouse, and the cows are kneeling in the field, and our space heaters sometimes short out, and trailers are made of many flammable materials. Fighter jets from Fort Bragg make practice runs over us. The terrible stars sometimes fall, and we are asleep in the valley. We are asleep in each other's arms. And the last poem I want to read was published in the spring of 2020 in the Raleigh Review, which I thought North Carolina has such a great writing community, and this was a literary journal I've just admired for a really long time. So I was so happy to get this poem about my granny in here. Moving to the country made me remember how my granny was always very careful. You know, she lived in the country in Bedford County, Virginia, and she was always very careful to make sure I knew to stay away from the bull, to identify the bull, and, you know, to realize that they were a danger. My granddad raised cattle. So the title of this alludes to the myth of, from Greek mythology, of Zeus coming to Europa as a white bull. A song for the daughters of Europa. Every time we pass that pasture, I point out the bull to my daughter, who was never taught to know a bull and therefore to spot one when needed in a field of cows. But once you've seen one, they will always stand out. The massive neck, the muscled shoulders, more dangerous than any female Angus. I named the bull for Granny, who named them for me and believed in the red myth and in getting over the nearest fence fast as you can. I know now this was her only way, the lesson pressed in by the little stones of her eyes. I see the girl she must have been, her fine hay straw hair like mine, barely holding a rag curl, her canvas sneakers well washed but still stained with mud. She is out in the dawn, an hour before school, where she is the fastest at math. She's calling down the milk cow, the copper penny leaves of the locust tree, her footprints left in frost. Once she grabbed my hand just as she grabbed the electric fence, and when the shock passed through her and into me, she laughed. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening and for celebrating Poetry Month.